Hello and welcome to the Empire State Trail Weekly Update, a look at the latest news from across the Erie Canalway and the Empire State Trail. And this is the update for July 19th to July 25th, 2026. And our picture here is what I took in Montezuma on Wednesday. That's the sun behind all the smoke from the Canadian wildfires as the riders were passing through Montezuma. And congratulations to the Cycle the Erie Canal riders who have survived and are finishing today in Albany. We heard a lot of reports of some dehydration on Tuesday when it was so oppressively hot, and the smoke certainly wasn't helping people with their breathing. We've had a number of riders in the hideaway this week, and Don here has been going around the world and cycling vagabond, I think, and is just going around taking pictures. And I started following him on Instagram and take some interesting photos. And then we had this young lady here who is heading from Panama to Canada, and certainly was having a good time. And she's from Lithuania, I think, but she's going from Panama City to Canada. I think Montreal. And this young lady here is with her dog Sheila, who's here. You can't really see him, but she's got this, I think she called it a Dutch style cargo bike. And it's an electric assist bike. And apparently the designer wanted to keep his kids in front of him and he could see them. So this has, it's compatible. You can put seats into it and stuff like that. But she was from Richmond, Virginia, and she was traveling from Albany to Buffalo. So nice to see them going through. So let's move on to trail closures. And the list here is from July 1st. It hasn't been updated, but it doesn't appear like there's anything new going on. Go over to the Cycle the Canalway trail map. And in fact, there seems to be less dots going on. So again, the continuing thing here. I think this is wrapping up in the fall in Buffalo at LaSalle Park or Ralph Wilson Park. And then the trail there and the detour around the aqueduct work in Durhamville. A little bit of work along the trail here and out by Utica and Rome. But other than that, things look pretty good. Not a lot of news this week aside from the Cycle the Canalway Trail ride. That dominated the Google Alerts feed. A lot of reports about the smoke and the heat and the riders and the good times and all that. I think I heard 575 riders. I heard 600 riders. I'm not sure, but there is quite a few of them. But this popped up. New York authorities issue new guidelines for upstate visitors to prevent trail disruptions and support local economies in the Hudson Valley. Sounds very serious. But it's an interesting overview. I'm sure it's mostly AI generated here, but there are context and background, understanding the scale of upstate New York, which is anything north of New York City for them. But, where you can get rail service, be respectful of the land, all that stuff. So this is geared towards every trail users, but it was just interesting to see it pop up. And that's really it for the news. I mean, there's, like I say, there was a dominated by the Cycle the Erie Canal ride, and not much else was popping up. So one of the questions I do put to our hideaway visitors is about bike security and what they want to see, what they need. Do they feel comfy leaving their bikes? Do they not leave their bikes? Do they want to, how do they want to lock them up and everything? And it seems basically if they can keep an eye on it, that's the most secure they feel, obviously. So if you have a little restaurant, a little storefront, ice cream stand, where they can park the bike out front, lock it up to a bike stand, go inside, be keeping an eye on the bike as they're doing, their business, that seems to be the best. It's not always optimal for most people, most businesses, to have a big window, or you go into a Dollar General or something like that, a grocery store, you're not going to have that big window there. But it tends to favor the smaller village shops. Your little local pizza shop, ice cream store, whatnot. That would tend to give them an edge, I'd guess. Then I started looking for bicycle options, parking options, and this Green Spoke came up, and bicycle shelters or bicycle lockers. Um, and this could be an option for if you had a village with an empty lot. Certainly, you're not going to put that in front of your store, but if you had a empty lot next door, or if the village had an empty lot where they could put a couple of these, um, it appears that you bring your own lock. Now, the issue with bike security is anybody with a battery powered angle grinder in seconds can rip off your bike. And obviously, if you have a lot of gear on your bike, a snatch and grab, they're going to grab your bags or whatever and run. Um, especially if you're in a denser city environment, I would think. So it's so having a lock, having your own lock on one of these, maybe it's recessed so it's in a way that you can't get to it very easily. But this might be an option, and I'd like to know if anybody's doing this. Here's another one. Darrow bike lockers, and you got smart lockers and single lockers and e-bike lockers, and I've seen these in the bigger cities where people are using their bikes to commute and they have to catch a train or whatever, so they're locking their bikes up. But this, it'll be interesting to see if anybody's considering this, or just having a bike valet service. Having a wooden shed out back, put a sign out front, bike valet service, bikers welcome. The person comes in, where do I go? I'll come around back, we'll put your bike in the shed, we'll lock it up. We're the only ones that have a key, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that would make people feel more secure. Obviously, it's not for everybody. It's going to be tailored more towards the single owner or somebody who has a small business. But if you have thoughts about bike security, and it's a tough nut to crack, how do you make somebody stop with their bike, park it, feel secure that it's going to be safe, they're going to walk around? Maybe let us know what you think. And looking at the calendar here, Cycle the Erie ends today. I had been saying look out for the Tonawanda Canal Fest, but apparently that's way north of the canal. It's not even anywhere near the canal, so I'll take that off there. We have the Brockport Arts Festival going on August 1st. And there's a big race at Weedsport. If you're planning on camping at Weedsport or around Weedsport, just be aware it will be noisy that day. Cycle the Hudson starts on August 3rd. People at Parks and Trails don't get much of a rest, do they? That's a shorter tour. And then we got Little Falls Canal Days coming up the 5th through the 9th. And then we get into the New York State Fair on the 26th, and that's always a zoo down there for riders to get through the mass of people down at the State Fair in Syracuse. So just be aware of that in your trail planning. And that's it for this Empire State Trail Weekly. Please note that this is an independent weekly update and is not affiliated with New York State, the Canal Corporation, or any official trail agency. And information is based on publicly available sources and rider reports. And please remember to give this a like and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts on bike security, how you lock up your bikes. Do you lock up your bikes? Maybe you never even carry a lock with you. And we will see you next week.